Bears are the next team on the list. In fact, on the field, back in 2012 when Blake Bell ran the big-time touchdown, except for that one time, Oklahoma's only beaten Baylor once. And Baylor has 2 conference titles in that match, 2013 and 2014. But then had some off-the-field issues. Some big ones. And we're not just talking about the quarterback Seth Russell and the injury against Iowa State last year. We're also talking about coach, our former Baylor coach, Art Briles, and Jim Grobe taking over in Waco. All that and more coming up next. Boomer Senior 1982. Stay tuned. The Baylor Bears. What can be said about Baylor? They've won two of the last 3 conference titles. The only difference, last season when Oklahoma won it. But that's not what the whole system's about. Seth Russell comes back after an injury. That's not what it's all about in Waco right now. What it is all about in Waco is the former head coach at Baylor, who would have been in his 8th year, guys. 8th year. Seem like it that long? And I even said it myself, that the only way that this guy is, the only way that Baylor falls is if this guy falls. Falters, does something stinking not smart. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Jim Grove will come in and handle the tension this year. But they'll go into the non-con, but they'll go into 2017, and I'm looking for them to connect with the Washington State coach Mike Leach. Maybe even pull the extension salary expansion off of Lincoln Riley and give him one to be the head coach at Baylor, or go down to TCU and grab Sonny Cumbie, the OC out from Texas Tech, who knows that system. We all know why this is happening, so we don't need to get into it. But what we do need to get into is what to expect from Baylor this season. And the Baylor Bears last season, of course, from Waco, they were 10-3, 6-3 in league play. The 3 losses were to Oklahoma, TCU, and Texas, all in the month of November. They did beat Oklahoma State on the road in that month, but they lost in a rain I'm not going to call it a rainstorm, but it was a pretty good fought ball game by both teams in Waco for the first loss in the new McLean Stadium. They then lost in a complete downpour. You thought our game against Baylor was bad? You should have seen the ball game against TCU. That thing was a goalie washer, as they call it, but TCU won. And then, of course, the Texas game with Charlie Strong and them beating them to finish at 10-3, 6-3 in league play. That's 4th place in the conference, 4th place, and in sole possession of 4th place. But they were a 10-win team, meaning that they did get an in-bowl bite. An in-bowl fight to to their bowl game. They played North Carolina, 15th ranked North Carolina, and upset them in the Russell Athletic Bowl, the same bowl that Oklahoma was in 2 years ago, by the way. The win over University of North Carolina, UNC, that was a ACC division champion. Division champion. They did not win the conference. Of course, Clemson won the conference, but they did go 8-0 in league play, and they finished 11-3. Those are to East Carolina, Clemson in the title game, and Baylor. 3 non-conference games because, of course, the middle game, the Clemson game, does not count on the conference record. It's just a little something to remember for maybe next year because Oklahoma and the Baylor Bears and the entire Big 12 is going to have to get into that mess. By the way, they got that win 49-38 over North Carolina, upsetting North Carolina. Their head coach is Jim Grobe. It's his first year in Waco, and like I said, he's an interim coach, kind of the style. A lot of people are saying that he's kind of like a Gary Gibbs down here in Oklahoma, just there to kind of clean up the program. But we have a namesake here at Oklahoma. Baylor, like I said before, Baylor, I don't think that they can wait on that. They cannot fully wait like Oklahoma waited 11 years for Bob Stoops after Switzer. They waited a whole 11 years. I don't think Baylor could do that. I think that Baylor really wants to do this. They have to fix it now, and they have to fix it quick. And Jim Grobe is a good quick fix. But within the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to have to get them a coach that they think that can win with, that they think that they can win with. Being, like I said, Lincoln Riley, who did just sign an extension as the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, but would probably listen if you dingled the whole car in front of him. Dingling the car to the whole machine, not just the OC. Also, Sonny Cumbie in on that, and also a dark horse in that. Remember Mike Leach, who trained the aforementioned Art Briles, taught him that system. No one knows that system better than Art Briles, better than Mike Leach. Mike Leach taught it to Art Briles. Just saying. But he does have a good thing going on at Washington State. Just saying, by the way. But as far as Jim Grobe's version of Baylor, here's what they have returning. Their quarterback, Seth Russell, comes back from injury against Iowa State. Last year, Seth Russell, when healthy, passed for 2,104 yards to match with 29 touchdowns, and 6 picks last season for the Bears. Rushing the ball was pretty good too. Johnny Jefferson, 136 pops, 1,000 yards on the ground for the young man to go with 8 touchdowns for Baylor. Also rushing, Devin Chafin. Chafin had a 121 yards on the ground. Rushes to match 578 yards on the ground, 9 touchdowns for the running back. Seth Russell also got the ball out quite a bit. Number 9, Katie Cannon. Watch out for this guy. If he's released from Baylor, this guy could put up big-time numbers. Listen to this. If he stays at Baylor, this is from last year, he got 50 pops, 50 receptions to go with 868 yards in the air and 6 touches. But the problem is behind him. We all know that Baylor can get the ball out and that they're going to be able to spread the ball out. But they're going to have to trust, if they do so, they're going to have to trust number 14, Tyler Patrick. Now, last year, Patrick, in a reserve role, by the way, caught only 11 touchdowns to go with 151 yards and a touch for the wide receivers. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting, is defense. Because as much pop as they have in their offense, Their defense really doesn't have to play awesome. They don't have to play great. And you know what? They have a pretty decent defense, to be honest. And it starts at the DB spot, defensive back, as it should in the Big 12, with as much spreading out as we do here. And that would be number 48, Trayvon Blanchard. And also it goes out to the linebacker. Number 1, the young guy, Taylor Young. And we'll start in the DB slot. Number 48, Trayvon Blanchard. Finished with 84 tackles last year for the Baylor Bears. Also forcing a fumble. Did not recover any fumbles, but did have 2 picks last year from his defensive back slot at Baylor. Helping him out on the tackles for defense is number 1, Taylor Young, who had 80 pops last year to match 0 forced fumbles and 0 fumbles recovered, but did have 2 interceptions from his linebacker position last year from Baylor. Now a little something about Jim Grobe. Jim Grobe is a 1974 grad from the University of Virginia in ACC country. The thing about Jim Grobe is this is not his first rodeo in Waco. That's the only good thing about this whole scenario, is even if he is like a Gary Gibbs. Remember, Gary Gibbs was kind of pushed into the slot if you're an Oklahoma fan. He was kind of forced in. This guy was, yes, forced in, but Gary Gibbs didn't have any coaching experience as far as the head coach is concerned. He has. In fact, he cleaned up a couple of teams, like from 99 to 2000, he cleaned up the University of Ohio, the Bobcats, before leaving because from 2001 to 2013, for 12 years, he was at Wake Forest, out in ACC country, and from obviously now from 2016 to present, he's at Baylor. At those 3 schools, Ohio, Wake Forest, and now Baylor. So Ohio and Wake Forest, he had a 110 to 115 winning percentage. That's 110 wins to match 115 losses. Did have a tie in there. His record is .488 winning percentage. Postseason record 3-2. That matches 600 in the if you're looking at statistics. Conference titles in the Bob Stoops era, of course, only 2. Of course, got the sole possession of the one in 2013. 2 years ago in 2014, before Oklahoma took back the title, they did win the title again, but they had to share it with TCU. Baylor won the outright title because if you'll remember, Baylor had a humongous comeback against TCU in Waco. Remember that game, don't you, Sooner fans? That was the OU Texas game, by the way. Same weekend. So now we've reached November, guys. This Baylor game should be fun. But we'll have a game coming up next week. Looking forward to that one because we're heading out to Morgantown next weekend. Not only will it be the 4th of July when we tape it, but it will also be West Virginia Day. Country roads, take me home to a place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. It's been a ton of fun today. Keep an eye out for the West Virginia game coming up. Preview coming up, You can go back also and watch the former previews for all the other teams that we have coming up this season. Thanks for watching, everybody. And my name's Harry James. And thanks for watching. Boomer Sooner, everybody. Take care. I'm out of here.